unfortunately, there are some people in this country who don't want to know the truth and don't want children to know the truth. I write books for people to read them, for people to engage with them in a country where there's supposed to be freedom of speech. And so to see people defying the Constitution and taking literature away from people who want to grow from it is certainly something that I don't like. And I don't think any book that's trying to create equity and justice for all should be banned. When I wrote Stand from the Beginning, and I would go around talking about this history of anti-Black racist ideas, I just had so many older people saying, I wish I would have learned this in middle school and high school. It would have sort of changed my worldview and the way I related to other people, particularly Black people.
For those of us who have been banned and are being banned, none of us, and I know all these people, every single one of them on that list, none of us have ever done anything and would never do anything to intentionally harm any child, right? And I think that's why it's such a painful experience for us, let alone for the young people who get robbed of this work.
In the summer of 2020, there were many local demonstrations among or organized by young people imploring their schools and their school districts to teach them the truth. Like, that was a consistent sort of theme. I want to know the truth. Thereby, I want to know the truth about racism. Thereby, I want to know the history of racism.
Perhaps many people's biggest fear is that their children may come home and say, I think you may be wrong. Because once that challenge happens, one has to then sort of address and reassess the ground in which we all stand, right? Everything that I've ever thought about my life now has to be reassessed. I have to take inventory in a very different way. And I honestly think that there are a lot of adults who just don't want to have that conversation, and furthermore, don't actually have the resources and the information to have that conversation in a sound way because they didn't have these books either. I don't live in Texas. I'm not in these districts, and I respect my teacher friends and librarian friends who do work in these districts. And so I think I stand with them, but it's dangerous. And I think it can be a bit arrogant for me to sort of megaphone something when I'm not on the ground there. That's not my community, right? And I think we have to be careful because there are real people whose lives are on the line.
We're talking about primarily publicly funded school libraries, publicly funded libraries. This means that they are government-run community institutions governed by the First Amendment that are supposed to be non-discriminatory, to uphold First Amendment values for the entire community, and to engage in censorship because of the content or the viewpoint expressed by the work. It is really denying all that's important about those liberties. And I have never witnessed this volume of challenges come in so short a time. We are getting multiple challenges every day when we might have gotten 3 or 4 a week. it makes it feel like there's a coordinated effort to challenge these books.
I don't want young people to be taught that people have less because they are less. I want young people to learn about racism, because they're either going to taught that people have more because they are more, or they're going to learn about racism, which then leads to disparities. And and so I think that's why it's so important for young people to learn about racism and even how to be anti-racist. Uh, because the only other alternative is for them to come of age and think that there's something wrong or special about them because of the color of their skin.
If there happens to be any young people watching for whatever reason, right? If that is a thing, just know that I love you, right? That I truly love you. That I hope you can see that in the work that I do. I hope you can see that in the ways that I speak about you, in ways that make you big and never small. That ways that will never erase you or make you feel like half human. I recognize that you are a whole human being, just a little younger, and that we all have a lot to learn.